sign-in sheets. Please sign in. These have to be submitted with the last. Thank you. Thank you very much. The state wants to see who was at the meeting, and I know you're not all here for this, but it's very nice for you to sign in. This is the second of two public hearings for the 2023 Community Development Block Grant Program. Borough is eligible for $153,141, provided we submit an acceptable application. So this evening is to tell you how we propose to use the funds and solicit comments from anyone who has a question about that, has a question about past uses of CDBG funds. These are federal funds that the borough gets through the state of Pennsylvania. What we are proposing to do this year is to use $20,000 to administer the program and then use the remainder of the funds for curb ramp installations on the east side of Fayette Street. We're back to the east. We did east, west, now we're back to the east. The $133,141 for the activity includes both engineering and construction. The engineering will include design, bidding and contracting, construction supervision in conjunction with borough staff. The locations that we're proposing are Hallowell Street between East 9th and East 10th, East Hector Street and Jones Street between East 11th and East 12th, Jones Street between East 10th and East 11th, and Wells Street between East 11th and East 12th. Now this totals about 11 ramps. How many we'll be able to do will depend upon how many, what the bids are that come in for construction. And costs have gone up, but I'd rather have them in and not be able to get to them than not have them in and have to go through a whole process to do that. So if any of you have any questions on how we're going to use the money or what you want to know about community development block grant programs, please feel free to ask them.
Anyone on council have any questions for Chris?
Nothing?
No questions.
No questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
There's a couple more things that I have to be able to say.
Yep.
We will accept written comments until the 26th of September, and they can be addressed to me at Chris Stetler at Borough of Conshohocken, 400 Fayette Street, Suite 200, Conshohocken, PA, 19428. Phone number for the borough, 610-828-1092, and my email address is cstetler@conshahockenpa.gov. In October, early October, Borough Council will be asked to pass a resolution authorizing the submission of the application and approving the 3-year community development plan, which you will all get very shortly. The applications have to be submitted to DCED by the 27th of October. And I'm done.
Thank you very much, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the hard work. We sincerely appreciate it. By the authority vested in me, I hereby declare this meeting of the Conshohocken Borough Council duly open and ready to conduct any business that may come before it. Prior to the work session, Borough Council held an executive session on personnel, property, and legal matters. The first item on the agenda is under presentations. It's the PA Mayor's Association 2023 Mayor of the Year Award. Jim Nowak and Scott Funk, if you could come up, please.
Thank you. Good evening, members of council, mayor, officials and employees, and citizens of Conshohocken Borough, guests and visitors. My name is Jim Nowak, and I am the mayor of the Borough of Whitehall, a suburban municipality abutting the city of Pittsburgh in Allegheny County. I also have the privilege of serving as the president of the Pennsylvania State Mayor's Association, and it is in my role as the president of the PSMA that I'm here this evening. The PSMA is the largest association of mayors of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It is composed of borough mayors, city mayors, and home rule township mayors, and is not affiliated with any municipal organization. As I like to describe it, the PSMA is an organization of mayors, by mayors, and for mayors. The PSMA is governed by a 22-member executive board headquartered in Allegheny County. And your mayor, Yaniv Aronson, is a member of the executive board of the PSMA. One of the more important functions of the PSMA is to recognize outstanding mayors. And we do this with 2 awards. One award is honorary, and the other award is competitive. The honorary award is one that the PSMA bestows periodically to mayors who have given many years of service to their municipalities. The older and competitive award, known as the Mayor of the Year Award, has been given every year for 35 years to exceptional mayors nominated by their municipalities. The greatest honor that anyone involved in any endeavor can receive, whether that endeavor is in business, the nonprofit sector, or government, is to be recognized by his or her peers. Who knows better what it takes to be great than those who are intimately involved with the endeavor? And when the process for determining the honor is a competitive process, the recognition is even more special. The Mayor of the Year of the PSMA is selected by a 6-member committee nominated by me as president and for approval by the executive board. Because this award is so highly coveted, it is incumbent on me to make certain that the process of selecting the Mayor of the Year is as fair as possible. To ensure geographic diversity, I nominated 1 mayor from each of the 6 regions of Pennsylvania recognized by the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development. There were 4 borough mayors, 1 city mayor, and 1 home rule township mayor. Half of the members were on our executive board and half were not. And one of the members was herself a Mayor of the Year. Now, the Mayor of the Year committee reviewed 11 nominations and made their choice. With me today is Mayor Scott Funk of Manheim Borough in Lancaster County, the chair of the Mayor of the Year committee, who will tell you more about the process and will represent the award that was a secret on the night of the banquet of our annual conference, but is no secret in this room tonight. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm very honored to be here this evening. I'm very honored that I was chosen as the chairman of the committee. Like Mayor Nowak said, we're 6 members from throughout the state. It is a challenging task. Like I said, we got 11 nominations this year. You read through them. Some of them are very short, 1 or 2 pages. We've had one that was 16 pages. So it is challenging. And plus you're kind of comparing, I'll say, not always apples to apples, but apples to oranges. Some municipalities only have a couple hundred residents. Some have tens of thousands. So you have to kind of weigh, reading that, what kind of borough and or city they are representing and the impact they're having on that. Definitely, Mayor Aronson here really has an impact down here. We can see that. And I'll just kind of go through some of the highlights of the nomination letter. I won't read the whole thing. The mayor, he's been very busy with business openings, special events, ceremonies with the local VFW every Memorial Day, where I think he goes to, is it 11 different cemeteries that you go to? Flag plantings, tree plantings, educational seminars, panel discussions, town halls, senior lunches, trash cleanups, and paper shredding events, and of course your talks with Girl Scouts. That's always important. Some of the committees that he's involved in is the Dog Park Committee, Local Advisory Committee, and then Friends of the Parks Committee. And then he's also part of the annual Arts Festival and Car Show, which says what takes up 11 blocks of your borough. I mean, that must really be some event. And then, of course, he shares with the executive board every month his monthly newsletter, which I think that is very important. I'm not very savvy on the computer, so I don't go that way personally. He has the skills, and it's really a great way to reach out, to the citizens. I think you should be very proud to have Mayor Aronson here as your mayor. Also, like it said in the nomination letter, we cannot mention Mayor Aronson without mentioning the First Lady, Sarah, back here. And I think you were all familiar with her and everything that she does. I think she's very involved. So, and I know, Mayor, you shared that with us also at the event. It was kind of funny the night of the committee. We wanted Sarah to be there. Of course, she is occupied. So they came down before. They were down at the social that we have before the dinner and the banquet. So, and she dressed up. She's like, yes, she's here. She's going to make it. The previous 2 nights, somebody decides to sleep at this time. So little Thomas, held her up on Thursday and Friday. So we were kind of, then she disappeared. The banquet started, and she wasn't there. So we, like, how can we get her here? So Catherine, our what is she? Office manager. Yeah, she was going to go up and see if she could watch him for a little bit. Well, we ended up, we had to tell her, what was going on. So we had her on FaceTime. So she got to be part of that. So we're glad that she's here tonight for this. So at this time, Mayor, if you would come up, appreciate it. On behalf of the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association, I'd like to congratulate you on being the 2023 Mayor of the Year of Pennsylvania. Thank you. He always has to pose this. We even bring our own photographer. Yeah, right. Also, we do have about 6 or 7 other mayors that are here that came throughout the state for this presentation.
Renee, show up, please.
Okay, and maybe we can tell you who's here. So Ron Harris is from Carroll Valley in Adams County. Jim Black from Trumbullsville Villa in Bucks County. Mayor Anthony Caballero from Lancaster County, Coreyville in Lancaster County. Mayor James Andrew Malone from East Petersburg Borough in Lancaster County, and Bill Mulchaney, who is from North Catasauqua Borough in Northampton County. I'm sorry, Neil, I didn't.
Up here, and that's Jack Sierra from Bridgeport. Oh.
Got a wide angle, but you guys, here we go. That's good. Here we go. 1, 2. One more, and he's going to take a picture of me in there. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes. Appreciate it. I'm glad you came down for it. Thomas.
sure we got on.
I figured when I heard, I was like, that's fair.
No, we definitely want to take it down, yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. He deserves it.
Yeah.
One of those things.
Yeah, I know. We have a good time.
One of those things where like work gets caught up.
Right. How long?
This is my first track. So, maybe.
Yeah.
What about you?
This is my 10th year. We go on to it every year. They accept us on the first year.
They are outside. It's a trend.
Yeah. It's been like it for the last 2 years. Out here, so we're not gonna stay for the whole meeting.
It's pretty popular.
Yeah, old Thomas.
I understand. Hopefully you
We're going to do another presentation at this time. If everyone would have a seat. If we can have everyone sit down for just a quick presentation, please. Quick presentation. Thank you.
Brian.
Quiet down, we got a presentation.
So, good evening, members of the esteemed council, Mr. Mayor, and the Borough of Conshohocken. I think this is the first time that I have addressed this body formally as your state representative, so let me formally say welcome, although this is certainly not the first interaction we've had together. Officially, Stephanie has been great and her team has been great. We've been interacting on a lot of different issues, and so I just want to say hello and welcome, but I'm also here on some very business. I know that we just awarded the Mayor of the Year citation, but I've got a notification from the Speaker of the House, Joanna McClinton, recognizing this esteemed mayor, and so I just wanted to make sure that we read this. I'm not going to read the entire citation. We know about Yaniv's accomplishments and what he's done in our community, but I did want to make sure that we highlighted it tonight. So this is the citation on behalf of the House of Representatives, recognizing our mayor, Mayor Yaniv Aronson, as being Mayor of the Year by the Pennsylvania State Mayors Association, and recognizing his role not only as a mayor, but as a family man, a husband, and now a father to handsome Thomas. And so if we could just clap one more time for our mayor. Oh, one more? Okay. We'll do one more. And I know that Commissioner Jamila Winder is here. If she wouldn't mind coming forward while we take this photo as well.
Hold on, one more with Madam First Lady.
Great. Oh.
It's like whenever you were growing up in every aunt.
I'm still getting used to this whole, official.
It's like, wait, me too. Hold on, me first. Oh.
Just two final announcements, and I know you've got a tight agenda, so I'm just going to make these really quickly. The first one is that I'm also proud to announce that we've partnered with the mayor, the Conshohocken Police Department, and all of you here to host a free shredding event for our community. It's going to be on Saturday, October 28th, Saturday, October 28th at the Caldwell Banker parking lot in the morning from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. Also coming up, we've had 5 young people that have died in our community from sudden cardiac arrest or cardiomyopathies. And I'm so happy that Simon's Heart and Jen and their team are here tonight to present on something separate, but they're working, we've partnered in collaboration with them. We're gonna turn one of our local schools, Roosevelt campus of the NAR Center School District, into literally a cardiologist's office for Saturday, September 23rd from 8 a.m. until roughly 12 noon. We've got limited slots available, so if you know any kids between the ages of 14 and 25, please sign up. This is something that we can get kids screened for. This isn't just a doctor putting a stethoscope to someone's heart. We have EKG machines. They're going to be detecting for murmurs, and we could not have had this done without Jen and Simon's Heart bringing in Jefferson along with others to make sure that this happens. We're going to test hopefully over 200 kids that day, and we're really grateful for their partnership. So I want to highlight that if you know of any kids between the ages of 14 and 25, all the information's on our website, repgregscott.com. Please sign up and make sure you get everyone screened. Thank you so much for your time, Madam President.
Thank you, Greg. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the 2024 bike race presentation. Joseph Seagogs from Simon's Heart, if you could come up, please. Ah, there he is.
Hi, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello. Thank you for having us. I'm Joe Sekogis, and I'll introduce Jen and Mike in a second. I just want to say that was an amazing segue. Thank you. I'm also on the medical team at Simon's Heart. I've been the director of imaging for a number of years, and we're very happy to be helping out. So what we're here to present is a bike race, and we're proposing a course in Conshohocken. And I'm going to let Jen talk about Simon's Heart and introduce Mike. I'll introduce myself as kind of the glue that brought this idea together. I am a long-time Conshohocken resident. Just actually recently moved, starting a family, and we wanted to get a little more land and live in the woods, but my daughter still lives in my house on Elm Street. She's 27. So I've been here since 2003. I consider Conshohocken home. I still do. I love it here. I miss it here. And, being a part of Simon's Heart and also QCW, I kind of brought all 3 of these great things together. So I'm going to introduce Jen. She's going to talk about Simon's Heart, and then Mike as well.
Thanks, Joe. I agree. Thank you so much for that segue. I'm Jen Parado. I'm the executive director of Simon's Heart. We've been headquarters in Conshohocken since 2007. We really love that this is our home. Simon's Heart started 18 years ago when a little boy passed away of sudden cardiac arrest, and since then his mom and dad have really taken the momentum and moved that forward in order to provide free heart screenings in the community, to place AEDs where kids learn and play, and to provide CPR education through a unique CPR jukebox. It's really ironic as we were at the Eagles last night because they also have selected us as a partner in order to provide 50 AEDs to the community of Greater Philadelphia and the outside regions. So we're really glad to be here. We're screening hundreds of thousands of hearts as quickly as we can. Like Greg said, we've lost several students in the last year to sudden cardiac arrest, and we're really glad that QCW approached us and said, hey, will Simon's Heart be the beneficiary of a cycle event? I will never say no to being the beneficiary of an event, but I do take it very seriously where, how, logistically. Greg and Buck know exactly how serious I take that, so we're really grateful to be here. It's truly saving lives. Every single dollar that comes in will support all of these efforts. And then I just love the businesses of Conshohocken. So what we will do is make sure that all of the businesses are highlighted, the community members are involved, and then that we really have a good time, because we like to say saving lives is serious, but learning how can be fun. So I'd like to introduce my colleague Mike Black. He's going to tell you a little bit more about the cycle event itself.
Good evening.
Hi, Mike Black. I'm on the board of QCW Cycling, the largest cycling organization in Southeast Pennsylvania. My main role, in addition to being the secretary of the club, is the race promoter. And so we promote about 3 events per year. I think we've done about 7 in the past 3 years, mostly on a slightly smaller scale. I think in 2022 we partnered with Simon's Heart for a smaller community event in Trexlertown, Pennsylvania, in a park, essentially, small scale. And the idea here is that we're going to combine national level cycling competition with a fun community downtown, social, high energy community event.
Yep.
That's the main idea.
All right, so I'm going to go through a couple slides.
Sure.
I'm going to play a video first because the video is going to do a lot better job of kind of showing you the energy that these things. This was a news clip from an event done in Boise, Idaho. This particular race is a national level event, which is what we're going to try to do here as well.
Ready for retirement? Our free retirement.
Bear with me with the ad.
Similar to like NASCAR or Formula One, riders are super close together, and they're super pro men and pro women. You know, they're 30 plus miles per hour the entire time.
The 36th Twilight Criterium will take place in downtown Boise in front of the State House on Saturday as racers come from all over to compete in this elite race, including Legion out of Los Angeles.
Yeah, so they're here. We have a team from New Zealand as well that's here, and then there's teams from all over the country with probably what I would consider the best criterium racers in the world.
This is 10 Barrel Brewing Company's outdoor patio, and on the other side, we've got the street. But on Saturday, there won't be cars. Instead, hundreds of bikers will be racing in the Twilight Criterium.
Oh, it's pretty awesome. You know, you see the community come together. Now we're right in the middle of it.
10 Barrel preps 2 days for this event. They sit on the corner of the course where customers will gather for a unique day at the pub.
Kind of exciting, you know. Well, not kind of. It is exciting, you know. To see a couple hundred bike races just fly by real fast, and see thousands of people downtown enjoying Boise. You know, it's a kind of a unique race to have in the heart of a town.
The action kicks off at noon with the Kids Race Power.
This is always the best part.
The Challenged Athletes Foundation, Simplot, and Idaho Central Credit Union supply the prize for the opening party, and Bailey Glasser LLP is the title sponsor as this race takes the community and a whole lot of effort to gear up for race day.
Well, as you can see in the background there, getting ready to pull some fencing off this truck, and we do almost 6,000 feet of fencing inside and out all the way around the course. So you can imagine the amount of labor it takes to put this thing together.
Steve Den, Idaho News 6.
Okay, so that was the video. Just minimize here, and we're going to skip through the slides. So, what are the goals of the event? We want to host an energetic, fun downtown event for Conshohocken. This would be for all ages, from little kids and families, young adults, older adults. We want to design this to have a component that makes everybody happy. We want to promote the town of Conshohocken and the businesses, of course, many of which are very close to the course or on the course. Of course, as Jen said, this is a great fundraising opportunity and exposure opportunity, both for Simon's Heart and also for QCW. I think the two go hand in hand. You know, sports should be safe. This will be a national level elite cycling competition, so we would bring in professional men and women from all over the country, sometimes even out of the country. We'll get more into what a criterium is on one of the next slides. We want to showcase the Philadelphia region for cycling and promote the sport of cycling. You know, part of what QCW does is promote cycling in general, especially to those who don't really have access to, you know, the resources. So, downtown criteriums can draw big crowds. You know, when we bring in the national talent and do it in a fun place like Conshohocken, where lots of people come anyway, you know, we can bring in big crowds. So, what is a criterium? So, I'm sure we all know what the Tour de France is. A criterium is not the Tour de France. A criterium is, think of like a NASCAR or Formula One style race. It's a closed track, usually about a mile long. They could have anywhere from 2 to 4, like the course that we're going to propose would have, or even 6 to 8 turns. What they don't have are big hills. So when we're talking about Conshohocken, we all know that it's very hilly. So when we thought about where the course could be, we were somewhat limited, and I think it is a great course for both safety of the cyclists and also just inclusion of the town and businesses. So the races are known for very high intensity, high speed. I'd imagine on this course, the average speed for the riders would be 30 miles per hour in the professional race. Their sprint speeds could be closer to 40 to 45 miles per hour. And, we've said a couple times, pro-level competition. Whenever we do bike events, we also have kids events. We have events for say, masters level riders. We have events for the lower categories, lower tiers of riders too. So basically what QCW and Simon's Heart would provide for this event would be the lead responsibility for the operation of the event, promotion and operation, which I've put on here twice, the budget for contractors and prize money, marketing for the event, and sponsorship, recruitment of local businesses and such. What we would be looking for help with from the Conshohocken Borough would be emergency personnel, police for course management, and EMS for rider safety and community safety. Course closure notices prior to the event. We would need to let everyone know, of course, this is going on. Course closure material support, so that could be fencing, it could be barricades to kind of block off the roads and such to keep everybody safe. Of course, encouraging the local businesses, restaurants, any businesses to actively participate. And then access to borough resources. So if the borough has things like cameras and drones, we can do some really cool things with live streaming of the event and stuff to really kind of make this even bigger than just, within the borough. So, the course. I think at this point we can ignore the green lines, and everybody please bear with me. I did this off of Google Maps, and I saw it on social media this week, so I was a little embarrassed that my artwork had made it out there. But the course, and I'm going to just walk up here to this to show you. What we kind of envision is all of Elm Street, all the way down to Apple Street, around up to Spring Mill, all the way down, and we're going in a counterclockwise manner, back out to Fayette and down Fayette and back on down. The start-finish line on a course like this would be in this general area, and we do that for safety reason. This is all downhill, and then you come into an uphill with a pretty good uphill here, and we don't ever want to start-finish to be on a downhill because the speeds would just be too much. So whenever we're designing a course like this, safety is the first thing that we're thinking about for the riders and everyone else too. So, when we had talked before, we had thought about this other course which would have included some of these other businesses right on Fayette Street, but I think that, what was decided was on this yellow course.
I think we had a concern with excessive speed coming down Fayette Street that would be potentially dangerous. So this course would do a good job of balancing safety, community exposure, and then also competition. It's a course that should yield balanced competition.
Yeah, and just so that everyone on council knows, this is a many months in terms of conversations of getting to this point. This wasn't just brought to our attention. We took this very seriously when the request came in. We were very honest back with our feedback to Simon's Heart, and Joe, and Mike. Additionally, this has been vetted by our emergency management team, and this route that has been laid out has also been vetted with the restaurants and the businesses in the area. So we held a meeting where we offered restaurants and businesses to come and attend, hear the information about the proposed bike race, provide feedback. So the course that we're landing on is a direct reflection of all of those entities coming together and deciding what they feel would be best for the borough and presenting it to you for potential approval. So again, this is a collaboration of kind of all entities that will be affected by this event.
Yeah, so that's the last slide. That one just kind of shows you the elevation profile of the course, which is within the normal limits. It would be a difficult course for riders, but it would make it very fun for the fans. In addition, what you don't see on here, a couple other things I'd mentioned, we're going to look to kind of create a couple of other areas for the businesses that are not on the course.
Okay.
There are some, like right there on Spring Mill Avenue, that are going to have front row for this and their patrons. The ones that don't, what we would like to do is create an area for vendors, for the restaurants to have, say a beer and food garden, a vendor area. And we have some places in mind that we could set up things like that, but that'll take further discussion with the borough and with all the businesses to see what works best for everybody.
And that would be great.
You're not concerned about the turns regarding the bikers?
We are concerned about turns, but this course is a safe course. Mike and I were just out in St. Louis for 4 days, and the town of St. Louis had 4 separate events, 4 nights in a row in different really cool neighborhoods. The course that was the most similar to this is in their neighborhood called The Hill, which is their Little Italy section, a big rectangle. It had, a similar elevation profile. We worry about corners more on downhills, and that's why we chose this course to limit the length of that downhill. So this would be, with the very wide roads, this would be a very safe course. And all of the corners are barricaded with fencing.
So yeah, the fencing placement can be managed in a way to maximize safety. So for example, the corner close to Couch Tomato Cafe would be the highest speed corner, so we would want to make sure we would make that area as wide as possible, because generally with a bike race like this, cornering space creates safety. If you could imagine,
You gotta have the space.
you're on a 6-foot road turning onto another 6-foot road and you're going fast, much more dangerous than if you're on a wide road on the other wide.
With the width of Fayette Street, we can make that not even a corner. It's a curve.
Right. So Criterium is a faster type of race than some of like the Matty Young race that used to happen. I'm just trying to understand the difference.
The difference is the length of the course. So what you see here is a 1.2 mile course, and the different levels of racers, so let's just say the pro men, they'll race for say 90 minutes. So 90 minutes consists of however long it takes them to go around that course in 90 minutes. And there's a technical way that they figure that out. But the average speed here would probably be close to 30 miles an hour. For the pro level, probably more like 25 miles an hour for some of the lower levels. When you're talking about the Tour de France, those are races that go 120 miles in a day. They go up over mountains. They have very high speeds too, including speeds that are much faster than this, the scary 60 mile per hour going down mountains. So we don't have any of that, but what makes this intense is that it is enclosed and you could have 50 people riding together, and it spaces itself out, and there's a way that it works, but it's different. Does that help?
Yeah, I'm just asking the question because people are wondering why this route was chosen for what type of race this is. So I'm trying to kind of put a perspective around what makes this race a little different than some of the other races in the area that we may have seen or heard about.
So the Philadelphia Bike Race, the one that went through Manayunk, was not a criterium. That was a road race. So they did a couple of laps, but it was a very big course. And when you're doing those kind of distances, you can have big hills. That's standard for that type of course. For this type of course, you cannot have big hills like that for safety reasons. You have too many people that are bunched together. You can go downhill too fast, into corners. There would be crashes. Even going up hills is an issue because as you get into the hill, the pack slows down and people run into the back. So criteriums have a standard of elevation that we abide by. And, if Conshohocken were a little bit flatter and we could choose, to include more of Fayette Street, that would be awesome. But we all know that we're on a hill.
So, for example, the Philadelphia race, there was a very fast downhill, but it was, if you know the geography of Philadelphia, it was essentially coming down Manayunk Avenue out of Roxborough, and fast, maybe 50 miles an hour or so, but it was a very soft left turn onto Ridge Avenue where they could sort of scrub speed, where here, we don't see anything that would incorporate more elevation and incorporate, say, more of Fayette Street that would have a downhill that was safe enough that we would feel good about, asking people to compete in.
Thank you.
And we do like that a number of the businesses are on this course and that the park, Aubrey Collins Park is there. That gives us an opportunity maybe to set up something for kids there as well. We have the Schuylkill River Trail. I mean, we all know how many bikers go on that. We're probably going to pull in cyclists from all over the area that will ride into Conshohocken for the day, coming right off of the trail.
Right.
So we like this course for a number of reasons.
For the street closures, I understand they're going to be closed off for automobile traffic, but are they going to be closed off for pedestrian traffic?
No. So the street itself is closed. So cars are removed from the street. That's a must for safety, just for the period of time. So typically, it's a few hours before the first race so that everything can be prepared for the course. And then to take down everything, what would you say?
90 minutes.
90 minutes after the race.
So is the entire setup, takedown, all of that happen within one day?
Yes. Yes.
And what are the typical hours of that one day?
What did we?
We're envisioning something like an event starting at noon and ending between 4 and 5, and so the roads, the closure beginning at about 9 a.m. and aiming to have the roads open again at about 6 p.m.
But okay, so there's a couple things. Pedestrians can still, obviously travel around the course. They can also go through the track. At all of the crosswalks, we have volunteers who allow people to go through when it's safe. So they have flags, they look, they make sure that it's safe for people to cross. I'm sure there's a concern too about what if something happens, people live inside of the course. My house is inside of the course.
So is mine.
Are you? Okay. Where do you live?
200 block of East Hector.
Okay, yeah. So what do we do then? So I'd say with all of the borough's assets and the EMS and their plan, this might be the safest day for people living within that area. And if there is an emergency in the course, that emergency comes first. And the ambulances are close by.
And just to be clear, this council has invested infrastructure to have accessible emergency vehicles that can go within this course. So yes, that concept of how do you get into the course has been vetted through our emergency management team. And thankfully, we have the tools and the resources to be able to accommodate an event like this.
So what we would envision would be a partially enclosed course with fencing, likely not completely enclosed, and then having selective designated areas for pedestrians to cross or EMS vehicles to enter that would be marshaled by a combination of volunteers and
Right, and you'll have your emergency vehicles stationed at specific places along the course that they have deemed to be the appropriate location. Then you'll have your gators that can be deployed within the actual course to retrieve or, as needed.
Where are you gathering your bikers to start?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Where are you gathering your bikers to start?
Oh, so the start-finish, we envision being right around this area. So there's an open space right here. There would actually be an arch, like a banner that goes over. There's some infrastructure that's put there. There's an announcer who would be announcing the race and kind of giving insight to what's happening to the fans as well in that area.
Do you have a proposed date for this?
We do. So
August 18th. It's a Sunday.
Yes.
Sunday?
August 18th, 2024. So.
Wow, you guys like the heat, huh?
Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point.
That's normally when they're done, I'm assuming, in that?
the riders are used to riding in the heat. It's something that, none of us love, but we do it. But the great thing about this date is that another town that's very close, Ardmore, has an event that they've done for years. It's actually done to sponsor Narberth Ambulance, which is right here in Conshohocken.
Some of our favorite people.
They're also on the course, so we want to include them too.
Okay.
But this would piggyback off of their event, which is the day before. That, and there's talk too of if we have these two very powerful events that maybe some other things could pop up in the area, Friday or the day after as well, because when these folks travel in from all over the country, they like to do multiple races in the area.
Right.
So we are, just to confirm on the date, so it is tentative.
Right.
It is not set. We are working and in discussions directly with Narberth, with their Ardmore race, to make sure that they are comfortable, because they are a priority.
Yes.
So that conversation is ongoing. So we're presenting tonight because we all have things that we need to get moving in order to make it happen. But the date is a target date for you to keep in mind, and if there's a change, we will let you know.
Okay.
Sorry, Karen.
No, that's okay. So based on your experience and what you know in this particular area, how many people, what do you think this would draw in terms of kind of an audience and cyclists?
What would you say for the total amount of spectators?
Between 1 and 10,000.
Yeah.
10,000-ish if it's a beautiful day, and closer to 1,000 if it's a washout.
In the rain.
The St. Patty's Day Parade.
Yeah, I know there would be variables, but.
Yeah, and this could bring 500 to 600 riders. It depends on what we establish, as the classes of riders that come. But we know we want professional men, professional women, and a couple other classifications as well. And then we also determine the limit to the amount of racers in each race,
Right.
which could be up to 100 probably for the professional.
Right, so we'd expect, 300 to 500 racers, and to give a good analogy, or maybe a good aspirational target, there's a race this Sunday in Doylestown that's really a big part of the community, has been for maybe 30 years or so. I think in a good year there, they might be more in the 25 to 30,000 range. I don't think there's any way we'd be looking at that to start, but that's the sort of potential ceiling of an event that goes for years and develops a reputation as being a large community event.
Right.
Is this a rain or shine event?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so for tonight, are there any additional questions now that we have the team here, before we proceed with finalizing plans?
Anyone else on council have any questions?
No.
You answered all mine in your presentation, so I appreciate it. We all appreciate you coming in. It's very exciting. It's for a wonderful cause. So we're excited to see if we can make this happen with you guys. It would be great. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We really appreciate you giving us the time and hearing us out. We're super excited for all the same reasons you said.
And we appreciate you choosing Conshohocken.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Do either one of you ride?
Yes, we both do. He rides a little faster than I do.
Street?
So mainly events of this nature.
Okay.
We heard that your police chief also rides, I think, right?
I
believe he does, yes.
We're going to get him out on the course. He's going to lead the pack.
He'll be with the kids.
My son took my bike, I can't join you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. The next item on the agenda is under Land Use Matters, Public Hearings and Ordinances. The first item is to discuss an ordinance accepting the dedication and opening of Oak Street. And I will turn that over to Mr. Peters.
Thank you, President Leonard. We included in your upload an initial draft of an ordinance that would open the Oak Street crossing as a public road. This is part of the requirement that the PUC is imposing on the opening of that road, that it actually be ordained a public road. We are in the process through your borough engineer's office of getting a legal description for that area. Once we have that, I can determine officially who needs to receive notice of this ordainment. But I do expect by your next meeting that I'll know that specifically. I hope that it's just going to be SEPTA and maybe Matson Mill, in which case it would be relatively easy for us. But once we have that information, this would be advertised, and then it would be opened as a public street, and you would finally have that crossing in place. So more at your next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Peters. That would be great. The next item is discuss an amendment to the borough's parking ordinance, and I will again turn it over to Mr. Peters.
Thank you, President Leonard. Your staff, your chief of police, and many other individuals within administration have come up with several amendments to your parking ordinance that we're able to do at one time, which is good for all kinds of reasons, including the fact that I can just include them all in one ordinance. So just to very quickly run through them, you are creating, and I actually talked about this at your last meeting, the ability for your fire marshal to enforce parking restrictions within fire lanes. You'd be creating a new one-way street on Walnut Street between East Elm and East Hector Street in the northerly direction. You'd be establishing new stop intersections on Hollowell Street at 12th Avenue and on West 1st Avenue at 4th Street in both directions for both. You would be adding no parking areas on East Elm Street in the 500 block where municipal vehicles only signs are posted. That may be a clarification to make sure it's in your ordinance. On Oak Street, on the west side from the intersection with Stoddard Avenue north to no parking signage that will be installed. And on East 6th Avenue on the south side from the intersection with Harry Street east to no parking signage. You would be removing and rather clarifying a parking restriction on Fayette Street. So you would, when I draft an ordinance, I have to remove the section first, and then we're going to be clarifying that on Fayette Street on the east side between 4th and 5th Avenue, there is a 20-minute only parking restriction. You'd also be adding 15-minute to-go order parking on West 4th on the south side between Fayette Street and Forest, and you had a temporary restriction there to see how that would work out. And on West 4th Avenue, on the north side at the intersection of West 4th Ave and Fayette Street, we'd be clarifying that the police department only parking signs are for that specific purpose. We would be clarifying how residential parking permits expire, and specifically they'll automatically expire when someone moves, and new residents must get new permits. There's no transfer allowed. We are seeking to amend and firm up your overnight parking restrictions, specifically to increase the weight to 11,000 pounds to account for larger trucks like F-250s and F-350s. We would then, because there was a concern about trucks, not only just in terms of weight, but in terms of size, we would add in dimensional restrictions, and the lengths that we came up with after talking with the chief are 22 feet in length or 9 feet in width, or larger than demarcated parking spaces if there are demarcated parking spaces on the street, and a restriction for no trailers, period, overnight of any type or any form. Those additions hopefully will help to address the issues. If you can think of any others as you review this, just let me know. We're happy to add them in. The next section simply adds in the provisions that allow for enforcement of fire lanes and creates the fire lane restrictions. The next section makes sure that the metered parking zones within your ordinance match what's actually out there in reality, and you can see the chart and review the chart and see the cost and the hour limits associated with each. We then have several amendments to officially transition within your ordinances to online and app-based payment of metered parking. So there are several amendments, probably 15 amendments that simply achieve that both within on-street parking and within your public parking lots. We also have an amendment that clarifies and makes clear the parking cost, maximum parking time, if applicable, days enforced and hours enforced for the East First Ave and Sora parking garage. Again, with respect to off-street parking, we make the transition to app-based and online payment. And then we add three new tow-away zones, one on East Elm Street on both sides in the 500 and 600 blocks where municipal vehicles only parking and new tow-away sign parking are posted. On East 6th Avenue from the intersection with Harry Street east to no parking signage. And on West 4th Avenue on the north side, the police department only parking that I referenced earlier. All of those would become tow-away parking zones. They'll be signed as tow-away parking zones, and the borough can then, if needed, tow those tow vehicles away, because those are areas that the borough actually needs for municipal vehicles and/or police department vehicles. And those are the amendments. I'm happy to take any questions, or you can email me over the next few days. It's 28 different amendments, so I know it's a lot to take in, but most of it should not come as a surprise, and the biggest pieces of which we've already discussed. So I'll take any questions if you have them.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Peters? I would just like to say thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, well, and thanks to administration and the chief and everyone for, it was very organized when I got it, so it was just a matter of making it boring, so.
Thank you, Mr. Peters.
You're welcome.
The next item is discuss a resolution to establish residential parking on East 8th Avenue between Fayette Street and Harry Street.
Very quickly, your residential permit parking is done by resolution. There was a suggestion by administration to add in a residential parking area on the north side of East Avenue between Fayette Street and Harry Street. That's in anticipation of the new Pocket Park opening up, and to make sure that the folks in that area still have the parking that they need. And again, the Pocket Park is designed to be a walking friendly, accessible park. So the restriction certainly makes sense to me, and if you have any questions, I'll be answering.
Questions? Anyone, council? Kathleen, do you have any questions?
Mike, how many parking spots do you anticipate on that?
Ray, how many do you think, where is Ray? How many do you think are along there? Is it like 4 or 5?
A little bit more than that,
6 or 7.
Yeah. And there's, what, 10 townhouse, little row homes there, or is it 9? I meant to count them today when Mike came over and I forgot. So.
This just covers the north side of the street.
Right.
The south side of the street will remain the same.
Will remain the same, yeah. So the north side, it's just Pocket Park side.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
And we already have some no parking restrictions in there now, too.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Anything else?
So no one else has any more questions for East 8th Avenue?
No.
And Harry Street? Okay. The next item on the agenda is under council business. It is conduct an interview for a vacancy on the Friends of Conshohocken Parks. Adrian Kurtz, if you could come up, please. Good evening. Good. Thank you for your interest in serving on the Friends of Conshohocken Parks.
Absolutely.
We did get your resume. So the first question you always get asked, why would you like to be on Friends of Conshohocken Parks?
Why? I'm a military brat. I've lived in every time zone in America. I grew up in Europe. I've lived in Conshohocken for the second longest I've ever lived anywhere in my life. I absolutely love being here. I'm also a real estate agent and have every interest in this town being accessible and people wanting to come here.
That's great. And what do you see as the purpose of the Friends of Conshohocken Parks?
So, as I understand it, the group is designed to raise money for supporting the efforts of upkeeping the park equipment and also the fellowship house, recreational activities.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
How do you think you could contribute towards that?
I've been a fundraiser for quite some time. I own a charity of my own that's based right here in Conshohocken. I have worked with Yaniv and Sarah on some of their fundraising initiatives that they are working on, and through that, Yaniv thought that I would be a great member to join the team.
That's great. So we'll just give you a little background on Friends of Conshohocken Parks is set up originally to help raise money to restore the Marywood Park House.
Okay.
So just food for thought for you. So have you been there?
No, ma'am.
Okay, that's something you would probably want to go see.
Sure, absolutely.
Anyone else have any questions?
I just have one question. For your charity owner, Service Pets for Vets.
Yes, ma'am.
If I wanted to read more about that, where would I go?
ServicePetsForVets.org. That would be the initial landing page for the organization. We're building out a larger website. The org has only been in process since the Arts and Car Festival of this year, so the 3rd of June. So relatively new.
Okay, thank you.
That's great.
Thank you for your interest.
Yeah, thank you.
So much for coming
Thank you.
in.
Have a wonderful night. Thanks.
We appreciate it. The next item on the agenda is to conduct an interview on boards and commissions, reappointments. The first interview is with Jane Flanagan. If you could come up, please.
Welcome, everyone. It's so nice to be here again, and it's different being on this side of the podium. So again, it's a pleasure to be here, and here we have Mary Wood.
There is Mary Wood, Jane's true passion.
Yes.
Is the Marywood Park Commission and Mary Wood. So
Yes.
I know exactly why you are reapplying, so I have no questions. Does anyone else on council have any questions for Jane?
No, because if she could, she'd probably live there.
True. And I promised Brittany I wouldn't talk a very long time because it's already a jam-packed meeting. But just on a personal note, I have loved the park since I was a little girl. I went to day camp there. Before that, I played there with my family. As a mother and a grandmother, I still enjoy the park immensely. The park house, you definitely have to come visit the park house. It's a treasure. And I was lucky enough to take art lessons there as a child. So I think it was the hub of Conshohocken for activity of all sorts. And I'd like to see that come back. I think that that's something to honor Mary's legacy. And not to go into a lot of history, but we do have some people here that are new and maybe don't know this. But in 1860, Alan Wood and his wife were married, and he built a house on Fifth Avenue as his wedding gift to her. And Mary and Alan lived in that house till 1870, when construction was completed on their mansion in Gladwin. So that's the big, gigantic home you see up on the hill, and it was called Woodmont. And most recently, it's been Mother Divine's, or Father Divine's, retreat house.
Yes.
So they moved there in 1870, and unfortunately, he died in 1875. Mary immediately moved back to her home in Conshohocken, and she lived the rest of her life there. She died in December of 1918, and she left her home in the entire block of 5th to 6th Avenue and Harry to Howell Street to the residents of Conshohocken for our enjoyment and our pleasure. And for the past 125 years, the people of Conshohocken have been blessed by Mary's generosity. So my hope would be to continue this legacy and protect it, so the future citizens of Conshohocken will enjoy the park and Mary's legacy. So that's my history lesson for tonight.
Thank you, Jane. No one says it better than you.
Well, thank you, but thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jane. The next item is an interview for reappointment with Tim Beckel for the EAC. Is Tim here? There he is.
Hard act to follow.
Jane is very passionate, and we're grateful for it. So,
I don't know, Tim's pretty passionate as well.
There we go.
Yes, this is true, so there we go. So does anyone have any questions for Tim?
You really want to continue?
I sure do. There's lots more to do. I mean, we just had our first Green Fest this year. It was a great first run
great
through.
first, yes.
Hoping for bigger and better things. A little bit of a rework for next year. More outside, less inside. Hoping for good weather again.
Yes, I saw that. Yes.
We finally have. It's been a while since we had a full complement, and I think it's a really good group right now.
That's
and
great.
I think most of the people will stick around for a little while. We'll be able to build upon that.
That's great.
I just want to add, as the liaison for the EAC, the council liaison, that Tim's help in just our regular functioning is critical, and he's really come through in terms of helping everyone feel welcome. This year we had lots of people that we lost, and then we had lots of new people come in, but he's been great and tremendous in terms of welcoming them and getting them involved and active within the group. So I just want to say it's been fun working with him.
Appreciate it. The feeling's mutual.
Anyone?
The EAC has a full complement now.
It does.
That's good to know.
That's great. Yes, great. Does anyone else have any more questions for Tim? Tim, I'm just going to say thank you for all of this, for your involvement in the EAC and what you do and how appreciated it is by all of us.
Thank you very much. And I'll plug our next event, which is the fall cleanup.
Yep.
Saturday, October 21st at Washi's, 10 a.m.
I was going to say Washi's this year, right?
Free T-shirt as always, free cleanup kit, and hopefully we'll have an after party this year, but nothing to announce just yet.
Okay.
What day did you say?
Saturday, October 21st, 10 a.m.
Okay, so that's the Halloween parade day, right?
It is, but there's in the morning and the parade.
Okay, so 10 a.m. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next items are under manager matters, and I will turn them over to Stephanie.
Thank you, President Leonard. Annually, we are required to review and approve the municipal obligations for the pension plans. This year, for the police pension plan, the minimum municipal obligation is $1,203,323. The obligation for the fire pension is $53,887. And the estimated obligation for the non-uniform pension is roughly $254,336. Like last year, the PMRS, who manages our non-uniform pension plan, have released the Act 205 report late, so that will not be generated until October. However, the state requires that you approve the MMO before the end of September, so you'll be approving it conditionally based off of our worksheet calculations. And then you will also be approving, if so inclined, authorization for myself to accept and process the amended MMO, if applicable, once that calculation is complete. I should note for the record that the MMOs are contingent upon market fluctuations, so the obligations for all of the pension plans this year are significantly increased, and you'll see that in your budget. So again, this is completely out of the control of the borough. However, it is still an obligation that we must meet. So you'll see an increase in your overall budget. The majority of that increase is contingent upon these MMOs. And so we don't have control over it. We have to fund it. It's mandated through the Auditor General's office. We're lucky enough to be in a financial position that you've strategically put us in that we can cover it with no tax increase.
That's great. Questions? Thank you, Steph.
The next item is a change order for the 2023 Liquid Fuels Program. Tyler Williams is here if you have any questions. Tyler did a fantastic job managing the 2023 Liquid Fuels Program, so thank you. You will have later this month the final closeout bills, but for this evening, there's a change order. The change order is reflective of 2 sinkhole repairs and basically balancing out the quantities in the base bid to the actual measurements. There is no net charge to this change order. It's just approving the change order itself, which is required for the liquid fuels process. So if so inclined, I would need that motion.
So the motion this evening is to approve change order number 1 for the 2023 Liquid Fuels Program.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is payment certification number 2 for the liquid fuels program. Again, the program is complete. However, we are working through punch list items. You'll have additional costs later this month. For this evening, we are asking for authorization to pay certificate number 2 in the amount of $304,631.82. Note for the record that roughly $20,117.06 of that amount is not liquid fuels eligible. Those costs are budgeted in your capital engineering, so it'll come out of Fund 18.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Tyler on that? So So the motion this evening is to approve payment certificate number 2 for the 2023 liquid fuels to Scott Contractors, Inc. in the amount of $304,631.82.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is a police CBA item. One of the stipulations in the CBA allows for the payment of reimbursement for bachelor's and master's degrees and associate's degrees along with courses. So Officer Eric Hall has requested per the CBA the covering of tuition for the 2023 fall semester.
So the motion this evening is to approve a tuition reimbursement for Officer Hall for the 2023 fall semester in the amount of $1,860 plus the cost of books per the police CBA.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
We have one escrow release for this evening. It is for 124 West First Avenue, if so inclined.
The motion this evening is to approve the financial security escrow release number 2 for 124 West First Avenue in the amount of $18,203.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
The next item is the 2022 CDBG curb ramp project. You heard Ms. Stetler earlier this evening discussing the curb ramps. Tyler has also done a fantastic job in completing our previous curb ramp project, and we are now moving forward with another curb ramp project. So we're looking at roughly the intersections that Chris talked about, which are East 5th between Harry and Fayette, West 4th Avenue at Wood, West 4th Wood the other side of the street, Wood Street between West 6th and West 7th, West 10th between Wood and Maple Streets, West 11th between Wood and Maple, West 11th between Wood and Maple on the southeast side, and then Freedley Street between West 10th and West 11th. Again, those intersections are contingent upon the final bids that come in and the amounts for the actual construction themselves. But this evening, what we are asking for authorization is to actually authorize and advertise the bidding construction project.
So if council is inclined this evening, the motion is to authorize advertisement of bid documents for the 2022 CDBG curb ramp project.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
The Borough received a request for a block party at the 400 block of East 12th Avenue. The date is Sunday, October 22nd. The time is from 10 to 6. They have requested closure of the road and barricades. Portion of that street is in White Marsh Township. They have received authorization from White Marsh to host that block party as well. So this evening, if you're so inclined, it is to consider approving the block party contingent upon final administrative review.
We'll take the motion from that.
Go ahead. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
The last item for this evening is a payment application to Lanai Electric Corp. For the pedestrian crossing project. That work is underway. They are submitting application number 2 for the amount of $177,477.34. There is a recommendation to process that payment request from your traffic engineer, Brian Keaveney. Just a reminder that we did receive grant dollars for this project in the amount of $348,000. So the way that this grant works, we pay it and then we are reimbursed from PennDOT directly.
That's great. So the motion this evening, if council is inclined, is to approve payment application number 2 for Lenny Electric Corp. For the installation of Fayette Street pedestrian crossing projects in the amount of $177,477.34.
I'll make that motion.
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Can I just ask one question about the crosswalk? There is the crosswalk up by CVS. Does it have the button, or are we still waiting on the button for that one? Somebody said that the button wasn't there.
They were out there doing something.
They're out there, I believe that they were out there today.
Yeah.
They will have the button. So this is not the final payment. So they'll, just like there is with the curb ramp project, there'll be a punch list and a walkthrough.
Okay.
Did I put my emphasis on one of those letters? A button.
Button, yes. Okay. Is there any public comment this evening? Okay. Stacy, do you have any public comments? Anything?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Anita?
Nothing.
Amy?
Nothing.
Karen?
Just a reminder of a few of the upcoming events that we have here in the borough supporting our businesses. The Conshohocken Restaurant Week, September 18th to the 24th. We have a bunch of restaurants, like 12, that the Pub, Boathouse, Jasper's. We have, as a reminder, the Farmers Market every Saturday from 9 to 12, and that continues through the end of October. And just the Best of Conchi, where we're voting and supporting again all of the businesses that we have in town. That's all I have.
Thank you. Tina?
Nothing tonight.
So I was asked to read for the mayor very quickly, so I will do this since he left this evening. Can you hear me? This is the mayor. As I look around this room, I see the real reason why I have been honored with this award. Everyone here has been instrumental in making Conshohocken such an incredible place to live, work, and play. I see a borough council who has always made the time to listen to my ideas and have been rock-solid supporters of all the events and initiatives that I have worked to bring to the borough. I see a borough administration and professional staff who do tremendous work behind the scenes and, quite frankly, make all of us elected officials look good on a daily basis. Our emergency services and Conshohocken Police Department, who have been tested so many times in the past years through COVID, catastrophic flooding, and our booming growth, and have only come out stronger and more ready to meet the next challenge. My biggest and most important thank you is to our residents. I wake up every day knowing I have to work to earn this seat. I can't wait to see what the future holds for our borough because I know that everyone in this room is working to make your lives better. I only hope to continue to make you proud. Conshohocken, your mayor, is the mayor of the year, so let's celebrate. Mayor Aronson. And with that, I will say meeting adjourned.